Perfect. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Makers Demo Day. I'm Anastasia, and I'm the client partner admin here at Makers. I'm sure we've got some really lovely presentations in store today, so I'm excited to get off and let them let them have the stage. As you know, we are Makers, and our mission is to transform lives and organizations by bridging the gap between tech industry needs and underdiscovered talent. So, a little bit more about our makers. They are a dedicated group of who are passionate about tech, and they're continuously growing their skills in both development and collaboration. They've gained essential skills, technical skills, improved problem solving, and continuously expanded their capabilities. During their time at bootcamp, they've built a strong foundation before diving into their chosen specialism, applying their knowledge to real world projects. And through teamwork, they've honed their ability to communicate, innovate, and drive projects forward. So, some housekeeping. We ask that you please stay muted for the duration of today's presentations. Each presentation might last around 10 to 15 minutes, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat either while the team is presenting or when they open the floor for questions, and I'm sure they'll give you some answers. So yeah, today's a celebration of all of their hard work, their dedication and their achievements. And even though it's kind of closing a chapter for their bootcamp, it's also beginning a journey of what I'm sure will be an exciting new chapter in their careers. And now let's hear more from our tech coach, Owen.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Happy Halloween. My name's Owen. I'm a software engineering coach here at Makers. I'll just tell you a little bit about the course and then I'll hand over to our first team. But many of you already know Makers Academy. It's a 16-week coding bootcamp. It's a very intensive learning experience, to say the least. Over the course of their time here, many devs go from some or no coding experience to building full stack applications from scratch. So a couple of months ago, the developers you're going to see tonight were in their first week here. They were getting to grips with Python dictionaries, debugging methodically, and now they're building and deploying whole projects that they've created that they would want to use themselves. So I've had the pleasure of working with this group for the past 6 weeks, and they've been nothing short of exemplary. They've worked together, they've learned, and they've built simultaneously. I know that they could thrive in any engineering team. They've asked amazing questions. They've strived to better themselves in the code that they're writing. And they've also managed to make a lot of space to have fun as well. They've just been the loveliest people to work with. So the projects you'll see from both teams this afternoon, they've been created from scratch based on their own ideas, pretty much over about a week and a half. They started this Monday last week, and their feature freeze was at the end of Wednesday. And so yeah, I'm really excited for you to see their presentations. Without further delay, I'd like to hand over to the first team, which is our JavaScript team. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen and show you our presentation. Thank you all for being here. Can you all see my screen okay? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now, Yanis will start our presentation. Thank you.
So, hello, everyone. We are Team Satellite. In the last 2 weeks, we've been working on a project called Profolio. So my name's Yanis. Alongside me, Stavrola, Ting, and Nikita. So, this project that we've been working on, what is it? What is Profolio? So it is a platform for developers and designers like ourselves to build a professional portfolio. Initially, we thought, what was the project we could do, what ideas we had, and we came to a conclusion that starting off this journey, it's difficult to create your own portfolio. It's a whole new project. And we wanted an easy way for developers to show their projects and what they've been working on. Thanks. So how have we planned this application? So on the first day, on the Monday, the whole day was allocated to planning. So this is where we diagrammed, we created a user flow diagram, which, as you can see on the screenshot, it basically shows the user's user journey as they navigate through the application, which buttons they're going to click, what pages they're going to see. And this was kind of a thing that we would always come back to when actually making the features and making the new pages and so on and so forth. And it did help us a lot when actually writing code to have it all planned out, visual, so we could just step by step go through the process. So the first 3 days, as Owen said, we had an MVP to do by Wednesday. So we had 2 days to complete it. If you look on the screenshot, you can see a green border with MVP written at the top. So this was what we needed to have after 2 days of starting the project, which we ended up getting done in that 2 days, which we are very happy. We kept it as simple as we could. Basically, user can create an account, sign into their account, and add projects and display them. And yeah, this was very important for us as we started adding features and challenges. So what challenges did we have? So initially in the previous application, we had a problem with storing images. So we were storing images as a really long, like 20,000 character string, which wasn't very efficient, as you can see here. So this is the string. And the other group that we had alongside us was the C# group. We saw that they stored images differently, so we realized we could store them differently. So we ended up choosing AWS to store it, which was difficult initially to implement. However, it allows us to have much more scalable and it's more secure in the long run. This is what it looks like. So on the left, you might be looking at this long numbers and letters thinking, what is that? That's actually a user ID. So each user ID has their own folder. And when you click on it, you would be able to see the images. So these are where the images are stored for, like the profile picture, the CV, and also the project thumbnail. And we managed to figure that out. So that was another win on our part. The next thing would be like token expiration. So for a user to be authenticated, they had to have a token, and that token, being JWT, has an expiry date on it. So the expiry was 10 minutes. So what we noticed in development, we had a lot of issues actually, implementing new features because we would have to log in every single time. So we just thought, you know what, why don't we just create an admin user that has 60-minute duration? And that was one of the challenges we solved. I would say one of the most difficult things was the time. Having the project for 2 weeks, it was difficult to kind of figure out how we're going to do the what we're going to prioritize first, and that segues on to Stavrola, where she's going to talk about project management.
Thanks, Yanis. Yes, so I'm going to talk about how we stayed on track and prioritized our work during those 2 weeks. Okay, so as you can see, we managed our project. To manage our project and stay on track, we embraced an agile approach, and using a Trello board was the central tool that made it all possible. As you can see from the screenshot on our board, we broke down our entire 2-week project into 3 smaller 3-day sprints. The first sprint was our MVP, which we managed to complete on time, for example, and having those 3 separate sprints and having it all visual accessible like that made the work much more manageable. We organized all our tasks or our tickets into simple columns. We started with a to-do list that contained all of our tickets, everything that we wanted to have in our app. And we then moved the tickets into the first, second, or third sprint columns at the beginning of that sprint. As we worked, our tasks moved to in progress, blocked if there was any issues, and finally to in a review for checking or like peer check-ins, requests, and so on. And we also use the Moscow method, which we used on our previous project and really helped us. And that stands for must have, should have, could have, would have, to prioritize our tickets. For example, as you can see, we have done a color coordination as well. So our first sprint was the MVP. All the tickets were must-haves, and that was the green. So it visually really helped us as well, kind of have an idea of what needs to be done next. And this Trello workflow was fantastic because it gave everyone full transparency. At any moment, we all knew what needed to be done, what we were working on, if anything was, we had any blockers, and we can just kind of go back and refer to this board. It really kept like all of our team in sync. But the tool was not the only thing that helped. The other important part was our teamwork. So we started every single day with our daily kickoff, which was our morning stand-up, where we kind of briefly talked. It was more of a casual chat, just to see how our morning has been, and if we want to talk about movies or we just random things we like and enjoy. And that really kind of helped us bond as well as a team. And that was the beginning of our mornings. And then after that, we would jump into work mode. To build a shared ownership as well over the app, we used a rotating leadership model. So each day, we had an allocated day for a different team member that would take the lead, planning the day's tasks and goals. For example, Monday was Yanis's day, Tuesday was mine, Wednesday it was Sting's, Thursday it was Nikita, and Friday was a free day. So we didn't have a very strict, it was, we can all work together. And this was a great way to get everyone involved and feel like everyone has ownership over the app and our project. We also had task autonomy, which meant that team members had the freedom to choose any task and the tickets they want to work on. So at the beginning of our sprints, we would all say, okay, is there something specific you guys want to work on? And we would just allocate that ticket to that person. At the same time, because we worked a lot in pairs, especially in the beginning of our project, if someone wants to work on a ticket and there's another person that wants to work on that ticket, we would just pair program, and that really helped. And it was a really nice experience doing this together. And finally, all of this was built on our core values. So we maintained a strong culture of open communication. Everyone was, very happy to, if we had any issues, any things that we wanted to talk about. We were all very supportive with each other. We very kind throughout the entire project, and we had to keep in mind that, again, if we had an issue, it was us as a team against the problem rather than us against each other, and that really, really helped overcome any problems that we had. And moving on, we are going to now show you a live demo of our application. So enjoy.
Hi, so this is a quick walkthrough of our projects, and here is our homepage. So we can create a profile from here, and we can see some users down here, and in the navbar up there, we can sign up and log in. But what if a recruiter and we don't really want to sign up? We can just come to find a profile here. So in the search page, we can search the projects by tags. For example, if I want to see all the React projects, I just click on React. It's going to show me all the React projects. If I want to see all the Node.js projects, I just click on Node.js, and it's just going to show me all the Node.js projects. And if I click on the projects here, it's going to take me to the project owner's portfolio page. For example, like Freddie, he got the RESTful API project, but it seems like not so RESTful. And if we go back to the search page, we can also search user by name. Like if I want to search all the users' name with an E inside, just search E, and it's going to return me a list of it. And oh, actually this Beetlejuice guy looks really fun. Let's click on his page. So here we can see he's open to work and he has uploaded a CV. If I click on the CV, it's going to take me to a S3 bucket link that holds his CV inside. And let's go back to his profile. He actually uploaded a project, which is barely a project, I see. And now I know why he's open to work. Maybe we should send him to Emily, like our career coach. She could definitely help her. Help him. Sorry. So let's go back to the homepage now and create a profile as a new user. Here is my first name. So my first name is Vlad. My last name is Dracula. And my email is Now, if I click on create account, it's going to take me to the login page. After I log in, I can see my user info here and my projects here. So we also have analytics around here. So now I just want to add some like info of myself. I have uploaded my profile picture, and now I want to add some like bio. My bio is this one. My job title is data engineer. I'm open to work at the moment, and I live here. This is my GitHub name, and my LinkedIn link, and my GitHub link. Great. So if we save it right now, it's gonna update here in my user info, and also my GitHub contribution will also be showing here. And now I want to upload the survey. So after I have uploaded my survey, the view survey button is here, and I also have unlocked achievements. If I click on the view survey button, it's gonna take me to the S3 bucket that holds my survey inside. If I go back, we have other 4 achievements that I haven't, I still not unlocked yet, which are like reach 50 total views, reach 100 total views, receive 10 emails, and also create 5 projects. I want to add one of my projects now, so I just click on add here and gonna type in my project's name and my tags, and gonna add a description for it. And the project status is in progress, so I want to attach a GitHub and website here because I don't have it at the moment, but I do have a thumbnail, so I can upload it. If I click on save, my project gonna be updated in the project section. So now I actually want to add in my profile. I want to change a profile picture to this one. So if I click on save, it's gonna update it here. And I also want to change my personal info because my name is not Dracula, actually. I'm Dracula. And I don't want to be a data engineer anymore. I want to be something else, like more cool, like a blog engineer, and I'm not open to work anymore. So if I save this one, it's gonna be updated here. Oh, also for the little icons here, if I click on this one, it's actually gonna take us to the linking page we just like uploaded. If we click on this one, it's gonna take us to a GitHub page we just added. And now I also wanna edit my projects. For example, I wanna change the name, I wanna change like the tags, I want to change the descriptions, I also want to change the states and everything. So if I click on save, it's gonna be up it's gonna be like updated. So now let's go to another user.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm going to log into my portfolio page. I can see all my information, my GitHub contributions, all the badges I've got to date, and all the projects I've done since leaving the Makers Bootcamp. I can also see the analytics, so I can see all my total views and the total emails I've received.
Okay, so I am Vlad, and I'm pretty interested in Jack. So like if I just search Jack here, I can actually see his like portfolio. And Jack is a full stack skeleton, and he got all those like projects down, and he has a pretty cool CV here. And I actually want to contact Jack, so I'm gonna send Jack an email here. Name is Dracula, and subject is hi Jack. I'm gonna ask him, do you wanna destroy this Christmas together? And I'm gonna save the message, and it's showing me the email is sent successfully. So now let's go back to Jack.
So if I now check my analytics page, you can see that my total views has increased and my total emails has also increased. I've also now got a Communication Masters badge. So now if I check my Gmail, you can see that I've received a message from Vlad. From Dracula, hi Jack, do you want to destroy this Xmas together?
Great. So now let's go back to Jack.
Now I'm going to search for Vlad. I can see that his profile appears in my search results.
But as Vlad, I don't have like a really cool profile page yet. I only have one project, so I feel a bit like awkward and hide my page. So I just click on the visibility here. So now I'm gonna hide my page, and it's showing my portfolio is hidden from search. Now if we go back to Jack.
And if I try to search for Vlad again, you can see that he doesn't appear on my search results. Now, if I go back to my portfolio page, I've decided I want to change one of my projects. So I'm going to delete Shadow Stack. You can now see that the badge has disappeared as I now only have 4 projects. So if I now add another project, you can see that the project has been added on the bottom, and I've now the badge has now reappeared as I've now got 5 projects.
So basically that's all the functions we have so far. Thank you for coming to our demo.
Amazing. Thanks to you guys.
Thank
Do you have more
you.
to share?
And just wanted to just say thank you for everything. And thank you all for being here. If you have any questions.
Can you hear me well? Yes. Okay. What part of the project are you most proud of? The part of the project we are most proud of is definitely going to be analytics, because when we first thought of the idea to use analytics, we saw that there were already existing technologies that we could use, like Google Analytics, but we decided, why don't we challenge ourselves and do it ourselves, actually create the analytics ourselves. So yeah, so I would say analytics. Thank you for the question.
It says the next one is, if you were to continue working on this project, what would we add next? So one thing that we really wanted to have, but we didn't eventually manage to, because of time restrictions, was I would say mainly to like projects, add them to a list of favorites. If you have any, like a list of favorites, you can add them just for reference. Follow certain developers to keep an eye on the portfolio and what projects they're working on. The ability to comment on projects. Yes, I think that's some of our ideas for the future. We're planning to kind of continue working on these projects in the future. So hopefully we'll manage to implement all these. Thanks for the question.
I think you have one more question from Sean.
Sorry, I'm going to break the theme and not put it in the chat. Well done, team. Excellent stuff. Look really good. Just wanted to know, you talked about some of the challenges there, but what was the tech stack behind it, and what was the challenges and new learning you faced there?
So the tech stack we used was ManStack. So MongoDB for the database, Express for the backend, routes, React for the front end, and Node.js, the language obviously to use with Express. Yeah, so we had a starter code base, which was very simple, but it had structure already that we could follow. And that structure was like model view controller architecture, if anybody knows what that is. If not, it's okay. So that's the kind of, it was a new thing that we haven't used before. So we really had to, in the beginning, understand how the code base worked initially for us to move on and actually make the code, make the application work. So yeah, so it was just kind of, we had to figure it out as we went along, understand the code base, how does the code base work? And then once we were able to do that, everything just kind of flowed and we could add functionality very easily. Thank you for your question.
And quite a lot in a very short time. Thank you.
And just for Tom's question, well, if that was an AI narration, it wasn't. It was just the video was 1.225 speed, just to make it a bit shorter. So it sounds like it's not someone talking, but it was us, like Nikita and Ting.
We are not AI.
I can
Yet.
attest to the fact that this team is not.
I'm certainly not AI.
Okay, thanks so much, team. That was some incredible work and a special appreciation for the Halloween puns. Some of them took me a moment, but I love them. I'm feeling festive now. And thank you, and just really well done. And also well done for your presentation as well, because I know that you had a lot to share, but it was great. Thanks, everyone. Okay, next up, our lovely C# team, whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready, Tom. Thank you, Karen. Okay, guys, so if you are planning a dinner party, you're going to need to be able to find some recipes. You're going to need to be able to track them, buy all the ingredients that you need. And that's the problem that we focused on for our website. So on the next slide, we have our website, which we call Sous Chef. This is our version of a recipe website where users can browse recipes, look at all their ingredients, methods, all their details. But it's also a handy helper like a real sous chef in that you can create collections recipes we call meal plans. And there's one simple button you can click that will generate a shopping list. This will give you all the ingredients that you need to make all those recipes so that your dinner party can be very easily organized. Okay, over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Tom. So what did our process actually look like? How did we get to what we get to? The short answer is agile, and that pretty much covers everything that we've done. Overall, across 2 weeks, we had 3 sprints, all of which ended in a retro. And I think it's safe to say that our planning phase at the start really was the backbone of our entire project and a key to our success. Similarly to our JavaScript teams, what they said in terms of always coming back to their initial planning, that's similar to what we experienced as well. So we spent at least a day and a half, if not longer, mapping everything out on Excalidraw and making tickets on Trello. You can see a screenshot of snippets of what both of these looked like. It's very tiny, you won't be able to read it, but we're more than happy to go through it in the question sections if you would like to. So please feel free to ask. So with everything set up, we held daily stand-ups each morning to update each other on the progress that we've been making with the tickets that we've been working on and to decide what to tackle next. We made decisions about what to prioritize as a full group, and we also spent a lot of time together going through PRs live and also doing code reviews together just to make sure that everybody understands what's going into the code base, even if they're not the ones that have perhaps written that bit of the code. And then finally, the biggest part was probably just having fun with it. We really tried to keep things light. We had lots of laughter throughout, and all of that really just set a very good atmosphere for collaboration, which I think was very beneficial. Over to you, Jack.
Thanks, Alex. Now, as some of you guys may be aware, a couple of weeks ago, we did complete another project, which was more of a social media website, so slightly different to this. Now, as Alex said, a big chunk of what we did in the beginning was planning. Now, that we let the last project kind of guide us a little bit in that planning phase as well. We wanted to put a real focus on certain aspects so we could really grow as developers, become better developers. And the main area we wanted to improve on was industry standards, like across the board, really. We're becoming more competent as developers, and as a result, we want to really push ourselves and test ourselves in that matter. Now, with that in mind, a few of the areas we pushed ourselves in were partial views, so specifically our HTML. We wanted to format it a little bit better, and we did so with partials. So it was a great way for us to not have to duplicate code. We were able to reuse those partials elsewhere, so it was keeping the application streamlined as much as possible. We also wanted to utilize more view models. We did so in previous projects, but we didn't necessarily use them in the hierarchical manner that they can be used. So this project, we did a big focus on parent and child view models so that they can have access to all of the data they need without sort of throwing everything at the page and putting unnecessary data there. One of the biggest ones was our responsive design. Now, I did say previously that we had done a social media website. It did look fantastic until you go onto it with a phone, and it looked terrible. It was very clear that the design on mobile was an afterthought. And it wasn't something we were particularly pleased with when it came around to planning this project. So as a result, we decided on a mobile first build. So we're really focusing on building it for the mobile and then scaling it up as a result of that, so that we can make it look great on every screen, no matter what screen it is. And we did find as well that scaling it for desktop after the fact the mobile was already done was significantly easier. Now, deployment had been at the back of our mind throughout the entire process as well. And going back to that social media website we spoke about earlier, one of our biggest fallbacks was deploying it, and it was a nightmare. So with this in mind, one of the main reasons that was dependency injection. So we had to refactor our whole code base last time, whereas this time we built it with dependency injection in mind, which allowed us to access our database significantly easier and do streamlined queries. But secondly, it allowed us to deploy very quickly, easily, and it was a much smoother process across the board. Over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Jack. So as Jack just mentioned, we set the bar pretty high for this project. And at times we did worry that we'd bitten off a bit more than we could chew. But in the end, we actually smashed those targets. We had loads of successes. The main one is definitely that shopping list generator, which aggregates all the ingredients in your whole meal plan into one shopping list, simplifying that meal planning experience. This was a massive undertaking, which involved nested dictionaries, super complex back-end logic, and a lot of patience. As Alex mentioned, we spent a long time planning at the start of this project, which certainly paid off as we had the whole concept mapped out and we were all aligned on the layout and functionality of the app that we wanted to build. This led us to create a super clear aesthetic and cohesive concept, which I'm sure you will agree translates across our whole site. Overall, we learned so much during this project and ultimately built a product that we are super proud of. A product which may look effortless, but was the result of serious hard work and over 10,000 lines of code. I'll now pass over to Curran for our product demo.
Thank you, Sarah. I know you all must be hungry to see what we've cooked up. So without further ado, here is our Sous Chef website. I'm hosting a dinner party for lots of family and friends. I need to put together a meal plan for it, create a shopping list, and get down to the shop and purchase the items I need. Luckily, I have Sous Chef to help me out with this. On the homepage, I can browse through recipes. I can flick through the carousels to search for recipes that might tickle my fancy. On each of the recipe cards, I can see information about cooking time, difficulty, and dietary tags. I do need to make a pie. Everybody loves a pie. So let's search for that. I do have people coming that don't like lamb. So let's search for beef in the filters. I can check out this recipe, and on the recipe details page, I can see there's a nice image of the final cooked food. We've got the title of the recipe, the chef, a description, the ingredients and their quantities, which dynamically updates with the servings inputs. We can see the nutrition per serving. We then have our method, the ability to rate a recipe or to make a comment. These are protected by login, so we need to log in to do those things. And same for favoriting a recipe, creating a meal plan, and saving to a meal plan. So let's go and register for an account. We register here, we can see that there's a quick and easy route with Google. And now that we're signed in our account navigation, we can now see we have access to shopping lists, meal plans, and favorites. We don't have any favorites yet, and while I was scrolling through, I did notice a couple recipes that I want to save for later. So let's go through back to the home page. I liked the look of this cheesy French omelette, and I also loved the look of this pizza. We can now see those favorites in our favorite section. Now, back to the task at hand, our meal plan. So first, I need to create a meal plan. I can do this here. And now I can see that the meal plan is empty, so I need to start adding recipes to it. Let's go back to our pie and add it to our dinner party meal plan. Now I can get to the dinner party meal plan from this pop-up, but I'm not done yet. I need to add some more recipes. I do remember seeing a curry on the home page. Crispy chicken katsu curry. Let's add this to our meal plan as well. And I have seen as well there is this Vietnamese pho. Now I don't want to serve this at the dinner party, but I do have my anniversary dinner coming up. So let's create an anniversary meal plan. And then add that to that meal plan and save. And I feel like I'm forgetting a starter. Let's go with soup. Okay, I think I'm ready, but I've just gotten a text from my partner saying that her mother has turned vegetarian. Let's have a look through all the vegetarian recipes we've got. I like the look of this creamy basil pasta. Let's add that to our meal plan. Okay, so now let's check out our meal plans. We can see here that the most recently updated meal plan is at the top and it's sorted in that order if we had more meal plans. We can click on this meal plan and now we can alter the servings per recipe. We can do that with the individual servings on each card, or we can do it globally with the adjust servings at the top of the page. So we've got around 8 people coming, so let's get 8 people, 8 portions worth of soup, and we'll split the pie and the katsu curry between them. And then for my partner's mother, 1 serving, she might want extra, let's go 2. So now we can generate our shopping list. And we're brought down to our shopping list draft. Now in this draft, we can edit anything that we already have some of. So I've already got some beef in the fridge. Let's drop this down to 300 grams. I don't need onions or potato. I already have that in the cupboard. And same for chicken stock and curry powder. Now I will need some napkins for the party. So let's get a few packs of napkins. And I think I need some plastic cups as well. So let's go ahead and save our meal plan. And now we can see our meal plan is in our current shopping list with the items that we'd only chosen to include from our draft, and the weights have been saved correctly as well. It is also split out by category, and we can see that we have not purchased anything yet, so we need to get to the shop. So now we'll switch to mobile and go to the shop. Okay, so now we've gotten to the shop, we've switched to our mobile, let's sign in. We can sign in with Google again. And then once we're signed in, we're going to have a look at our shopping list. And as we're going through the shop, we can start ticking off items. They don't have garlic here, so I'm going to have to leave that for later. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. I can keep going through the shop and ticking off everything I've purchased, or put in my basket rather. And then when I'm ready to leave, I can save that shopping list now. And now we see that all of the items gone to purchased, apart from the garlic. But I get to the car and realise I didn't pick up the carrots. Let's save the shopping list again to move it back. And then when we get to the next shop, we can go ahead and tick those off and save our shopping list. We've then purchased everything and we're ready to create a new shopping list from our next meal plan. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. For this project, we prioritize something called Mobile First. So what is Mobile First? It's a design approach that focuses on prioritizing development for mobile screen sizes. We achieve Mobile First by keeping the scaling smaller and constantly checking how it would look on mobile. This allowed us to position buttons, forms, and texts in a neat manner that was comfortable to users' eyes. But this meant we had to make some choices on what goes where, what we had to include, and what features wouldn't be available on mobile, due to the space it would take up on a screen, so we had to have some substitutes. Here are some pictures on how the mobile aesthetic looks. You can scroll from side to side on the carousel within the fourth image. And you can see how the buttons are quite plain and simple on all the pages, retaining our want for simplicity from us planning on the start. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
I think Liz has her hand up first.
Hi. So first of all, really impressive the amount of work that you've done in a couple of weeks. And I'll have lots of questions for my people when they thought about this. But yeah, just a couple that came to mind were that so obviously you've adopted that mobile first approach, and I can see that in the in some elements where it's quite narrow within the screen. I don't know if you've covered this yet, so maybe it's an unfair question, but have you considered accessibility at all in your design? Like I say, I don't know what you've covered so far in the program, and if you have, yeah, just any thoughts on how you've considered that?
We have touched on accessibility, not had any sort of full training on it. We've been shared resources on it and asked to implement it wherever possible as well. So there are pages where, for example, on the sign-in page, we take into account accessibility when showing errors and things like that. But not so much. Yeah, you're right on the how narrow it is on the page on some. So we probably need to look into that, and that's answers one of the questions of that's something that we might need to look in further if we were going to further develop on the project as well.
Brilliant. And my second question was, I noticed you've got social logins there. Did you set up just manual login, and what authentication protocol did you use?
Yeah, so Tom set up the Google login. At first it wasn't working locally, but he got it working for when we deployed it. But before that, we were using ASP.NET's password hasher. And it was pretty easy to implement that. It was just using that net framework, using dependency injection for it, and then calling it in the methods for updating a password. And we also implemented that if the security was to ever get updated by Microsoft, the code would detect that and rehash the password as needed as well.
Thank you. Like I say, really impressive.
Thank you. There's a few more questions in the chat. I don't know if anybody else would like to answer. I can answer if you want me to, but
I'll grab the next one. Oh gosh, which one was the first one? Was it?
Continue working on this project. I said accessibility, but
yeah. I think in terms of that, it would be the accessibility. There's also a few features that we spoke about that we really would have loved to have implemented, one of which being a timer or multiple timers on the web page so that users can obviously time their recipes. They've got the recipes there so they can specifically see it all on one page. In an ideal world, I would love it so that the whole web application was everything you needed to do that recipe. So we kind of got as close as we could with the time frame. Something else we spoke about was integrating AI a little bit. It would be fantastic if we had our very own little sous chef with us who could help us through the process. We could ask any questions to the AI, which would help us have more answers on how to do it, which would be something that would be really, really cool and really interesting to research in the future if we were to expand upon it.
Another improvement I thought about is for some pages we used our rose background, like for sign up, sign in. And although it looked really polished, it's somewhat interfered with accessibility. So at first we had error messages coming up in white that looked pretty, but really it should be red text. So we kind of adjusted it to come up with white background with red text instead. And then things like pictures, you can have Alt, so if they don't come up, it's got the text there, and you can adjust titles. When you hover over it, it will give you a title. So some of that was implemented, but I think as Jack started with, we could add more. And I think ultimately perhaps those rows background pages probably are better off being a different color so that the error messages are clearer. It's simply that we designed it that way, it looked pretty, and afterwards we thought, oh, we need to kind of slightly tweak it. So perhaps a redesign would be needed there. I'm sorry to make you hungry, but that's kind of the idea.
I think there's one more question from Stavrula, perhaps for Sarah, Kieran, or Alex.
Yeah, just to say, first of all, that looked amazing. Like, good job, guys. I'm sure it was not an easy thing to implement at all. So my question is, what was your biggest challenge? What's the thing that you maybe didn't even expect and ended up being quite tricky to implement?
I think it's definitely got to be that shopping list. Absolutely incredible work from a lot of us, but mainly Curran and Jack on that one. It was such a high when we got that actually working. Like I mentioned, like it's really complex back end. It looks so simple when you show it, but the kind of logic behind it to make sure that things weren't overlapping, to make it kind of user friendly, but also things that a user would want to do. So for example, checking off things they already have, or changing the amounts of things they already have. We really kind of wanted to design and build everything with the user at the forefront. So yeah, I would say that was definitely our biggest challenge and also like biggest success.
Nice, well done, thank you.
Amazing. If there's no more questions, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much to our two incredible teams. You've done such amazing work. Honestly, you've really smashed it out of the park. You're the first SD cohort that I've got to work with for this whole stint of 6 weeks in a very long time, and it's been amazing. And you're incredible developers and lovely people, so I hope that you're really proud of everything that you've done over all this time, but especially the last week and a half, because it's an intense project and you've done so much, so well done. I'll see you in about 12 minutes for our end of course retro. And for everybody else, thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely Halloween and have a great weekend. Thanks everyone. Well done again to our teams.
Thanks all. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.